Good evening, dear friends and family. As the snow falls softly outside, let us gather close and share a story, a tale of Christmas magic that unfolded not so long ago on a quiet street in Ohio. It was a Christmas morning like any other, yet destined to be profoundly different. The festive lights twinkled on Maple Street, some bright and bold, others a little tired, hinting at the long season. Each glow was a beacon, a silent promise of warmth and joy. But behind every window, in every home, lay stories unseen, unheard, and deeply felt. These were not families from a perfect holiday card, dressed in matching pajamas with flawless smiles. These were real Americans, navigating the beautiful, messy reality of life. They were tired, busy, hopeful, sometimes broken, and often profoundly grateful. Each soul on Maple Street, in their own way, was seeking meaning in a complicated world. They yearned for connection, for peace, for something more than the everyday. Little did they know an unexpected unity was about to bind them together, transforming their Christmas forever. Among them lived Mrs. Evelyn Carter, a retired schoolteacher whose home now felt too large and too quiet. Her beloved husband had passed 3 years prior, and her children lived far away on the West Coast. This Christmas was the first she would spend completely alone. As the morning light crept in, a whispered prayer escaped her lips. "Lord," she murmured, her voice barely audible, "please give me a reason to smile today." It was a simple plea, born of a deep and quiet loneliness. Just a few doors down, the Johnson family faced a different kind of struggle. Daniel and Sarah, a young couple with two bright-eyed children, were grappling with financial hardship. Daniel had been laid off in November, casting a long shadow over their holiday. They tried their best to maintain normalcy for their little ones, but the small Christmas tree and few gifts were a stark reminder of their predicament. Daniel felt the heavy weight of failure as a father, a burden he carried silently. Sarah, ever the optimist, gently squeezed his hand. "We have each other, Daniel," she said, her voice full of love. "That's enough." Daniel wanted to believe her, but a knot of worry tightened in his stomach. And then there was Emily, 17 years old, who felt utterly invisible. The world, with its relentless demands of school and social media, often felt overwhelming. Christmas to her was just another day, another obligation. She spent most of her time shut away, her earbuds a barrier against the noise of the world. Emily longed for something real, something that could break through her isolation, but she didn't know how to find it. The afternoon brought a sudden, fierce winter storm. By 6 o'clock, as families prepared for Christmas Eve dinners, a powerful gust of wind swept through Maple Street. In an instant, the entire neighborhood was plunged into darkness. No lights, no heat, just the sudden, unsettling silence of interrupted plans. Christmas dinners were abandoned, confusion turned to frustration, and a quiet anxiety began to settle over the street. What would they do now? Then, a flicker. A single candle appeared in Mrs. Carter's window, a tiny beacon against the encroaching gloom. Soon after, another glow emerged from the Johnsons' home, then another from Emily's. One by one, candles began to appear in windows up and down Maple Street. The street, once dark and silent, now glowed softly, peacefully, almost wholly. It was a quiet, collective response to the unexpected darkness. Daniel Johnson, ever the protector, stepped outside to check on his neighbors. The cold bit at his skin, and he saw Mrs. Carter shivering, struggling with a flickering lantern on her porch. Her furnace, he knew, wouldn't work without power. Without a second thought, Daniel rushed to her side. He helped her steady the lantern, his mind already racing. He couldn't leave her out in the cold. An idea sparked, a bold and generous impulse. "Everyone!" Daniel called out, his voice carrying through the crisp night air. "My garage has insulation and space heaters. Come over so we can stay warm together." It was an invitation born of necessity, but also of a deep human kindness. A moment of hesitation hung in the air. Neighbors, usually polite but distant, considered the offer. Then, one by one, doors began to open. Families emerged, wrapped in blankets, carrying candles, and even bringing what food they could salvage. Soon Daniel's garage, usually a place for tools and storage, was filled with the warmth of human presence. Neighbors who had only exchanged polite nods now sat close together, sharing the limited space and the growing sense of camaraderie. The community began to contribute what they had. Mrs. Carter, despite her earlier loneliness, arrived with a plate of freshly baked cookies, their sweet aroma filling the air. Emily surprisingly had brought a small speaker and began to play soft Christmas hymns, her usual earbuds forgotten. Daniel's wife, Sarah, ever practical and nurturing, brought a large pot of warm soup offering comfort to everyone. Other families followed suit, bringing bread, fruit, and even leftover desserts from their interrupted dinners. In that humble garage, something remarkable began to happen. The barriers between strangers dissolved. Laughter, conversation, and shared stories filled the space, weaving a tapestry of connection. They spoke of loss, of hope, of faith, and even whispered prayers. As midnight approached, Mrs. Carter, her eyes shining with an unexpected light, spoke to the gathered crowd. Her voice, usually soft, now carried a profound emotion. "This is the first Christmas since my husband passed that I didn't feel alone," she confessed. A tear traced a path down her cheek, but it was a tear of gratitude, not sorrow. "Tonight," she continued, her gaze sweeping across the faces around her, "you all answered a prayer I whispered this morning." The Johnson children, sensing her emotion, instinctively hugged Mrs. Carter's legs, offering their innocent comfort. Emily's mother, her voice thick with emotion, expressed her gratitude. "We're so glad you're with us, Evelyn," she said. Emily herself, for the first time in months, looked genuinely happy, her face illuminated by the soft candlelight and the warmth of shared humanity. The isolation that had plagued her seemed to melt away in the glow of community. Just then, as if on cue, the power returned. Lights flickered back on, heaters hummed to life, and the Christmas lights on Maple Street glowed once more, brighter than ever. Yet no one rushed home. A shared realization settled over them. They had experienced something profound, something truly special. They had witnessed and been a part of a real Christmas miracle. This story reminds us that the true meaning of Christmas is not found in the gifts under a perfect tree or in the elaborate decorations. It is found in people, in finding light together when darkness descends. The light that shone so brightly on Maple Street that Christmas Eve was not electricity. It was the light of kindness, the courage to reach out, and the enduring power of faith. It was faith surviving, even thriving, in a world that often feels divided. Miracles, we learn, don't always look supernatural or grand. Sometimes they look like neighbors opening their doors, sharing what little they have, and offering a comforting presence. They look like a community finding its heart in the most unexpected of circumstances. From all of us at the Scholars Ledger, we wish you a Christmas filled with reflection, warmth, and unwavering faith. May your own light shine brightly for someone in need, and may you find your own miracles in the quiet moments of connection.